Hey everybody, this is Ashley with Publish with Ashley, and I am here today on an unexpected YouTube for myself. I guess normally I'm here on Wednesdays and I will be here tomorrow, but I had a lot of questions last week when I did the Spot the Difference of how to make a Spot the Difference book. So I got thinking about how I would make it, and I'm going to show you how I would make it using free software. Alright, so this is kind of the example of Spot the Difference. If you didn't see my video last week, I will try and put it up there with this really cool and fun niche that I think has a lot of potential. But anyway, this is kind of the Spot the Difference. You might be able to see right here. It is this is Spot the Difference Wild West, and it's got like a cowboy, and then there's just something different about these little pages. So they're going to show you where it is. So this pictures are right next to each other in the book, and then you can see where the differences are. So it's kind of like a search and find, except it's spotting differences in the two pictures. Okay, so hopefully that made sense. Now, how I would make a software like this, I decided that the easiest way for me is paint.net. So you can find it at www.getpaint.net. It is free. You download it right here. There's all sorts of weird buttons, but right here is where you actually download it. That's the hardest part. You can donate, or I think you can also, if you're worried about just downloading it off a random site, you can actually get it at the Windows 10 store. I think it does cost you a few dollars on the Windows 10 store, but it's like, I think it's just a few dollars, maybe $10, and it's a one-time thing. I actually donated to PayPal, their PayPal site, because I love the tool. I use it all the time. There's a lot of cool add-ins and various things. But it is free, and you can do this. And they update it all the time. Right here it says release September 27th, 2021. So I get updates all the time. Like I said, though, if you're worried about whatever, you can get it on Windows 10. It's super, super, super cheap. And yeah, it's either free or cheap, but depending where you get it. Okay, so moving on, I wanted to show you how to do it. So I'm going to open up paint.net. So here's paint.net. It is very, very simple. So any of you who are maybe graphically challenged or tools challenged, this is like an upgrade from Paint. Maybe some of you have some experience on Paint, but it's pretty basic, which is why I like it. It does all the things I need it to do without a lot. Okay, so that's why I like it. Here, I'm going to move me down to the corner over here. All right, now I'm going to basically open up a file. So what I've done is, open. So file, open, right? And I have some pictures in here. I thought this is actually a picture from my vacation, but this is a picture I want to use. And I just got this, actually got this one. I bought it off of Stencil. I have commercial rights off there, but you could use your own photos. I just thought this photo was really pretty, and I thought about using some of my own photos. We're going to do an example of Spot the Difference camping. So, and you may know if you watch my channel, I like to camp. So I actually have a ton of camping photos, and I was thinking about doing a book of Spot the Difference camping or Spot the Difference scenery. We like to go all sorts of places and camp and hike and do things like that. So I have a ton of photos, and a lot of them, like trees and mountains and things like that, you don't have to worry about any sort of I would worry about maybe privacy. You don't want necessarily people's faces in it, but obviously scenery, trees, things like that, you're not going to have to worry about any sort of copyright issue or things like that. So if your own photos and you're taking of just like scenery, then you're probably just going to be fine. Okay, so here's a photo. This actually, I sized these photos when I downloaded it to be, and I thought this was a good size, but you can play with it. I was doing the pages for 8.5 by 11, so I decided to do a top and a bottom Spot the Difference. So the original photo is on top, the changed photo is going to be on bottom, and I decided to make them 4.5 high, 6.5 wide. So 6.5 wide, 4.5 height. And that's what I sized this photo at. So you can check it out, image, canvas size, and you see 6.5, 4.5, resolution 300, right? 300 dpi, pixels per inch, that sort of thing is what you're looking for. So this is good for that. Now, so how I would create this is I start with this photo, and what I'm actually going to do is Paint.net, the way to do these is layers. You're going to add layers onto these photos, and layer, just literally think it like kind of like a transparency paper. So you're just laying them on top of one another. That's what a layer is. It's like sheets of paper on top of each other, except they're digital sheets of paper, right? So down here in the corner, there's this add a new layer. This is why like there's just not that many buttons. there's just a few buttons. There's like a few tricks you have to learn, but rest of it is pretty simple. Kind of what you see is what you get. I have a lot of add-ins under effects that I have actually downloaded, but I don't really need any of those for this. This is a really simple type project. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a layer, and I'm basically going to take, and here's something to note, and you can mess up on this. I do it all the time. See how this layer is highlighted? This is the layer I'm affecting. So if whatever layer I'm affecting is what is highlighted. Now, the check mark is meaning that it's going to show up. So if I uncheck something, see, it goes away. Okay, so I actually want to copy this photo onto my second layer. So I'm going to make sure background is highlighted. I'm going to use this rectangle select tool. I end up using this rectangle and this move tool, and I'll show you the other tools, but I use those a lot. It's a pretty simple program. Oops, I didn't get all the corner. So I'm going to go all the way over, get the whole photo. I'm going to hit the Control C. Okay, so I'm copying this, and then I'm going to, or you could right click and hit copy, that would work too. Now I'm going to click on layer 2, and I'm going to Control V, paste. And you can see right here it popped in there. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually add one more layer. Okay, so now I have my background, I have my layer 2 that's sitting on top. So watch, I can actually like make this not show, and it's not going to change anything at this point in time. This is my original photo, and it's just not going to change anything because that layer, this isn't transparent at all, so it's going to lay right on top of it. Now this layer right here is transparent, so it's clear at this point in time. There's nothing on it, so you can't see anything. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to layer 2, and this is like the one confusing thing. It took me a while to figure out. See how this is highlighted? I can't do anything. So the one thing you need to know is this, if it's like stuck and something's highlighted right here, this X, red X with the little thing, it means deselect. Okay, so that was like the hardest thing to figure out on this program. And once I figured out that, I'm like, oh, well, that was easy. So now I'm in deselected, so it's not selected anymore, and I can do things on my canvas here. So I'm going to actually change something. What do I want to change on here? So you can pick how many things you want to change. You're going to want to tell your customer how many things are different. In the Wild West one, it had 5 things were different on the picture. So there's 5 differences. So you can say 5, you can say 6, you can say 7, 10, whatever. Do some research, see what's out there, see what you like. I'm just going to show you a few examples. So I think the first thing I want to do on something like this is something super simple that is maybe kind of obvious, but super simple. Here, I'm going to move myself again so I can get to my plus here. I'm going to make this bigger so this is a little easier for me. I'm going to scroll down, and I'm going to actually change this 10 so it's not there. So all I need to do is see this like dropper. It looks like a dropper. It's a color select. So I'm going to hit that. I'm going to color select, and you can see that it's blue. And then I'm going to go over here to this paintbrush, and I'm just going to paint it. So I'm just going to kind of paint it. Now, here's something I want you to note. I just went and looked to make sure I was doing this on the right layer. I am doing this on layer 2. So remember, my background is my original photo. Layer 2 is the changed photo, and I'm going to make layer 3 my, spot these differences. So I'm going to highlight and show the answer basically where the differences are. So that's what we're going to do now. So you can see I've changed that, and I'm going to make this a little smaller so that I can highlight that. So now I wanted to make sure I was on layer 2, right? That's my change layer, so that's good. Now I'm going to go to layer 3, and I'm going to basically spot the difference. So see these little shapes? I'm going to click on that, and you can pick. I'm just going to make an ellipse circle, and you can pick 3 different things: draw shape, just draw the filled shape, or draw filled shape with outline. I'm just going to draw the outline because we're just going to make a red. So I'm going to click on red here like that, and remember I'm on this 3rd layer. I'm going to go like that. So this will be my answer key. Okay, now in the end, what I'm going to end up doing is downloading 3 different photos, or 3 different photos to put in my book, and I'll show you how to do this. We're just going to show one more example on something, how to change it, so you can kind of get these steps or things you can do to make your photos different. Okay, so what else do I want to do? Now, before I get too far into that, I'm going to make sure to click back on layer 2 so that I don't accidentally start playing with layer 3. That's, I think, the most confusing thing. I do it all the time. What do I want to do? Maybe I'm going to make this cloud go away. Okay, so now again, I'm going to color pick. I'm going to pick something really close to it like that. So I've got this pretty blue here. I'm going to take my little paintbrush, and I'm going to color my cloud. And you could maybe do the whole cloud gone, or maybe just make the cloud smaller. And then you can kind of zoom in maybe, so maybe it looks a little less like I took my little brush there. So you can see this isn't very exact. So what I can kind of do is I can change my hardness so that it kind of makes it fuzzier. And I can maybe make my brush a little smaller, and then kind of put some little, so it kind of looks similar. Something I can also do that I like to do is you can actually take and copy and paste like kind of the clouds. So see how this is over here? I'm going to show you another thing you could possibly do. You can kind of copy this, and sometimes you have to play with this. So I did Control C. Now I'm going to do Control V, and I'm going to see I have another one, but it may not match exactly. So you can kind of see that that doesn't match. So I can either try and move it over here, or I still don't like that. So maybe I can just move it up over here, and then X, and then I can take my paintbrush and kind of spoil the edges of that. So then in the end it goes back to looking here. See, now it's like a kind of this cloud over here. So this kind of makes this whole area look different. Okay, so you can do something like that. You can pick pieces, add them, do that sort of thing. So now what I'm going to do is, remember, I'm going to highlight where my change was. So I'm on layer 3. I'm going to click over to my shape. I'm again going to go to red and make it red, and then I'm going to basically kind of highlight this area here. Okay, so that's on 3. All right, now let's go back out so you can kind of see. So I have 2 changes. With the ellipse, you don't have to click the little X, just click anywhere and it'll go away. If you notice the X isn't there and you're like, it's not working, just click somewhere off page and it'll go away. But now I have 2 changes. Okay, so now what I want to do, remember, is I want to save them all. So what I need to do is I need to save, basically it's going to end up being 4 files. There we are, 4. I'm going to save what I call paint.net file. So that's this with 3 layers, and you want to make sure to save that first. So I'm going to hit save, and I'm going to call this, I think I already have an example. Maybe I'm going to call this page 1. Maybe this is page 1. So page 1. Okay, and so that's my paint.net file. So right here, paint.net, see? Now I'm going to hit save so that I have this file. Okay, it's saving. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to save 3 different versions. Right now I'm going to save the version it has up, which is the solution. So you have to have some sort of a naming scheme. So file, save, oops, sorry, I clicked the wrong one. File, save as, and I'm going to call this page 1 S being my solution. Now I need to change the file type to a JPEG. You could do a PNG or a JPEG. It doesn't really matter in this case because we don't have a transparent background. So either file will do. So I'm calling it page 1 S. Okay. Now I've saved that. I hit OK. It's going to ask if I want to flatten it. Yes, right? I'm trying to make these one layer. But don't fear. Remember, it's going to go away. Now this file is gone, right? But it's not. Remember, we saved it. So I just go over here to open recent. This was another example I did. You're going to see. So here's my paint.net. So PDN. Here we go. So my 3 layers are back. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to save my different. So the second one, the ones that had the differences, my changed cloud and no 10 over here. So now I'm going to go over here and hit File, Save As. And now I'm just going to call this page 1B, okay? Because I decided A was the original, B is the second picture, and S is solution. So that was kind of my naming scheme that I decided would work for me. And I'm going to go over here and I'm going to make it a JPEG and hit save. Okay, it wants to flatten it. That's fine. All right, it's flattened. Now we need to do one more. So the slowest part of this is actually probably doing some of these savings. Now, oops, wait, cancel. See, I was going to do that wrong. So File, Open, Recent. I'm going to go to that PNG file again. So now I am going to save the original photo. So I've got to unclick those, and you're like, no, but I just click this back. There it is. This is the original photo. So now I'm going to hit File, Save As. And I'm going to call this page 1A. I'm going to save it as a JPEG and save. And it is going to, yes, again, flatten, and that is fine. Okay, so now I have 3 different files. So now I'm going to set them up on my page, and I'm going to kind of show you how to use Canva. Okay, so I'm clicking over here on Canva, and I already have something opened on Canva. This was that picture you saw. I did a spot the difference. So this is what you're going to end up having. You're going to have the pages. So you're going to have, this is the original. This has differences, and I think I have 3 differences in here. Let's see if we can open this or make it a little bigger so you can kind of see. Okay, so these are the 3 differences, and you can find those in there. Here, let me close that down. Okay, so what you're going to basically do to create this is this an 8.5 by 11, so I made an original Canva, insert the dimensions. My custom dimensions is 8.5 by 11. Hopefully that's pretty common. Nowadays you know how to make it just the page, but because I'm not making this to the edge, there is not bleed. I like to, if I'm not planning on something going all the way to the edge, then I like to make it the right size without bleed, basically. So 8.5 by 11. Now, if you're going to do bleed, you have to add that in. But I find that if I don't have to do the bleed sizes, there's just less room for air. So this has no bleed, and that's fine because I have more than enough space around the edges. Nothing's going to bleed into the edge. Okay, so what I've basically done is I've just put the 2 pages in. And let me make it a little smaller again. So I'm going to basically upload those photos that I had. So upload your media. I'm going to go over here, and here is my page 1A, B, and S, okay? So I'm going to click all of them. I'm going to open and let them upload. Now you might be thinking, oh no, they all kind of, except for this one that has the red dots, you don't know which one is which. Now most likely this one, because it is A and this is B and this is S, it's going to upload like this, but you can check. So you just click on here and it says page 1A. So that's good because I know for a fact which one I'm putting in there. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to add a page here, and I'm going to click, this was 1. I know it's not showing, but should show up there. I'm going to put it in so that it's centered, and then I'm going to click the next one. And so what I did to make them even, what I decided to do is I added the grid lines. So if you haven't done this before, you hit File, hit Show Rulers, Show Guides, and then these rulers show up, okay? And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold this, and it's hard to see on the screen, but it is darker here. So I'm basically having 1 inch from this edge. And then what I did for the bottom is I moved it around until it was there, 1 inch from the bottom, or actually here, there we go. Now it's 1 inch from the bottom, so it makes it nice and even. Okay, so now I have the original photo here, the change, and you can see, because you maybe, if the 10 is gone right there, and the clouds look a little different, but that's probably pretty small on your screen. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to add in the solution page onto this page. Okay, did it accidentally? Yeah, it dropped onto there, so I'm just going to delete that. Sorry, I didn't have that page selected. Right there. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to size it the same as this and be like that. Now you could label these, and I thought about labeling this page 1, page 2, and then you could label under here page 1 or page 2, but I kind of think it's fairly obvious with the pages being that they're different photos. If I was looking through this, I'd probably flip through until I found the picture, but you could definitely do page 1 or page 2. That might be in your research, especially if you see in reviews someone saying, I really like when there's page numbers for the solutions, then you should do that definitely. But since you're going to probably do 6 on a page here, then you're going to have your solution 6 on a page. Okay, so that is kind of how you make this. So in the end, after you were all done filling in the photos, you could hit download over here. You're going to download this as a print PDF and just click download, and then you can upload this as your interior to KDP. All right, I hope this tutorial was really helpful and you saw how I would make it. Like I said, I would use paint.net. I know GIMP, Photoshop, Affinity. You could do this on Canva, though I think it would be harder, but just because of what I like to do, which is that erase and things like that. But you could also add in things in here. You could add, you could do your spot the difference with adding in extra things that aren't there. I kind of thought about maybe adding in, like, did I upload some of these elements? Something you could add in something. Oh, I had uploads, sorry. But adding in different, I guess I didn't upload them, but you could add in something in the background that wasn't there previously, some icon or something that would make this photo different. Some people do that. I've seen that in Spot the Difference. But you could also just erase things or move things around. You could maybe take this can and kind of copy it and move it over just slightly, and something like that. You could definitely do something like that. So just be creative and figure out how you want to make your Spot the Difference book. But this, I was just kind of showing you a way that you can do that. All right, well, I'm so glad you're here. Thank you for being here. Please like and subscribe to my channel if this is the first time you are here, and I will see you again next time. Thanks. Bye.